really think it's time to move on to a different topic before this is devolving into terrible things. What was next on our list?
Bro, you have the notes.
No, my phone died.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Did your phone die?
It did, actually. Yeah, we can. Well, this is one of those chunks that we're going to edit out later.
He's so bad.
I was so excited for this.
He's like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got the organization on this one. And
I know what's next.
Let me throw up a quick outline here.
2 seconds ago, you didn't know what was next. What's next?
What's next, Trent? It's time for a debate. And this is where Chad comes in. Because Chad is adept at debates. He will find a way to debate pretty much any topic that you can conceive of.
I like to think so.
So I'm going to take you to the beautiful city of Frankenmuth, Michigan. I've never been there, but I've heard it's great.
I don't know where that is.
Have you been to Frankenmuth?
It's right. It's right here. Towards the middle, towards the thumb-ish area,
like
but not
between Lansing and Detroit.
Between Lansing and Port Huron.
Oh, okay.
A little bit further north. Yeah.
North.
Very nice. Really good at geography there.
I'm not 100% sure that's true, but
could be
it's in that range.
It should be true.
East side.
So in Frankenmuth, there's one of the high schools out there in Frankenmuth. They have actually gone so far as to submit a proposal to make video games a varsity sport. A varsity sport at a high school. Video games. Now, there are professional video game leagues, but I guess my question is, one, is video games a sport? Playing video games a sport? And two, no, I just have 1 point. Is video games a sport?
I thought he had two. Like before the show, he had two.
I did have two.
He is awesome at podcasting.
It was like, is it a sport, and should it be allowed to be like a varsity sport at high school?
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Should we even have varsity video games?
Picking up the slack over here, man. Are you just asking me?
Why don't you just go?
In my opinion, it shouldn't be a sport because it's like, especially like they play sports on the games, right? Like a lot of it's like, hey, you're playing NFL 2018, like you're playing a sport on a video game. So how can it be a sport?
What? Esports, they have tournaments going globally. Like the esports market, especially with games like Fortnite and those other battle royale type games, those have taken off across the globe, and they have tournaments. So I know. I think it is a sport.
And like people make lots of money off of it, like streaming their playing time and winning the tournaments or whatever.
Yeah, it's
a professional thing. I'm not like knocking it for that. I just don't know that it's a sport.
I have to agree with Chad here because look, I mean, it's not a sport. It's just not.
You're playing a game, but you're playing a sport the console.
The thing is that, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing insulting about saying it's not a sport. It doesn't take away from what it is. It's just let's not define it as a sport because it's not.
Okay, we're sensitive to this. We ran cross country,
which is a sport.
We know what it feels like when you're playing a sport and someone's like, "That's not a sport."
Okay, so if you are sensitive to this, then how can you just cast that judgment upon the esports gaming community?
Because Trent, let me tell you why. Because my point exactly is this: it's not a bad thing for it to not be a sport. It's just its own thing. It's like robotics in high school. People used to call that a sport. It's not a sport. It's its own thing. It's robotics.
Do you have like a definition of sport?
I feel like
thanks for asking. I just pulled that up.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying if we could get like a legit definition, then we could have a more informed debate here.
An activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
See, that's the thing.
That might be a sport then.
Two things. One, no, physical exertion? What, with your thumbs?
Your thumbs. If I play too much, my thumbs start to burn. Not that happens very often because I'm married.
No. So you don't have time to invest in it. Thank you for clarifying.
Right. Well, moving on.
All right. So Alex, even after hearing that definition, you're still pulling against sports.
Well,
video games
it's
being
a very yes. It's not a sport. It's just not. You're not physically exerting yourself playing video games.
But
if you wanted to call it
mental exertion,
no, it's just physical exertion.
But you're involving the skill and that aspect of it.
It takes a certain level of coordination, mental awareness, and game planning and strategy, and that is
reaction time.
Here's why I think this is so hard for me to gather is that growing up, all of us, we might have had like your GameCube or your Game Boy or something, but we weren't playing video games all the time. We weren't. Well, or connected in the way it is now. Like my brother, I'll go over to my brother's. What was my brother? 14. And they're playing Fortnite live, and they're talking to each other. We didn't have that.
No, that's true.
It's a totally different
solo play for sure
than it used to be. So for me, it's like I think video games, and I think us guys just chilling some night playing NBA 2K or Call of Duty or something, and just it's just for kicks, and then you're done. It's
but
just
it could
not
be the same way with a sport, as you see it, right? Like, hey, we could just go play some pickup basketball, and yeah, we don't do it that often, but. Sometimes we just do it for a little bit of fun with the guys, and
well, yeah, that's exactly right. And let's say I take a soccer ball to a local park, and I start kicking around in the goal, and I start practicing some moves. And would I say I'm playing sports? No, but I am practicing, and I that is maybe a hobby for me at that point. But when I take it to another level of competition, where you're earning money, like these guys make millions of dollars.
That was part of the definition, right? Like making money off of it.
Well,
not necessarily making money, but
competition
just
for entertainment.
Competition for entertainment. That's the largest part of it. And
which is what is implied when you make money, is that people are entertained and they're going to sponsor that activity, right? Like that's.
Now, there's one of the top gamers in the world right now. Goes by the gamer tag Ninja. And he is known for his Battle Royale style game. So Fortnite is the one that he's known for right now, and he's making millions of dollars a month. But he's been interviewed on ESPN and
CNBC.
On all of these sports networks and just national networks. And he argues against this idea that video games is not a sport. Or that why do people watch you play video games? Why do hundreds, millions of people watch Ninja play video games? Well, he says... just like people watch Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or Steph Curry play basketball because they are impressed at the level of skill that it takes to compete at that level, and that's something that they'll never be able to compete at. So they can enjoy and appreciate the level of skill that it takes for Ninja to compete at that level, albeit in a different entity.
It's the gap between professional and rookie or whatever, right? Like noob, like. Anything, you're always like looking up to those people, but most of the time you're never going to get there. You're never going to aspire to that.
Could never compete. And so for a school to put it as an actual high school team, as an actual high school sports team, man, that gives a whole different audience of people that are going to be playing that, because you don't have football athletes and basketball athletes. Not everyone's good at these competitive more physical, you have to be big and strong to compete at these now. But no, it beats a whole different class of people that can keep up with this gaming sports now. And that's something that we're going to have to start embracing as we go forward. And more high schools are probably going to start getting towards that.
Do you think, this is another debate topic, do you think that this is a good progression for us as a society, or do you think this is going to be a detriment for the future?
I think it's inevitable. I mean, as we go forward, this is the type of thing that people are more interested in, right? Like 10 years ago, this wasn't a thing because, yeah, people played video games, but they weren't as open about it and they weren't as into it. Now it's like kids are playing video games all the time, and that's the focus of our society, right? It's all moving that way. Like people are watching sports and stuff like that less, watching things like that. They're watching YouTube more. They're watching the gaming app. What's that gaming streaming app?
Twitch.
Yeah, they're watching that. Like that's what people do. More and more.
People aren't playing board games as much anymore because now they're watching Netflix all night. I mean, there's it's a totally different avenue.
No more shoots and ladders.
No, which is a shame.
It really is.
Absolute shame.
Candyland,
Great game.
fantastic game.
Yep.
I don't know, guys.
So do you think that in general, the way that society's progressing, with cell phones, with technology, with the computerism that's going on, do you think that's a detriment to the way that we're developing?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it can have a negative effect for sure. Like, people are spending more and more times playing video games and less time either bettering themselves or bettering other people, like actually working even, like, and like that's the product of a wealthy society, right? You don't necessarily have to work so hard or try so hard, and then you have time to do.
I was actually just talking about this with Kendra today. I think we're almost too connected. You know what I mean? So we see all these things that happen in the world, tragedies, right? And I was thinking to myself, is it that more of this is going on, or is it that we just didn't know about it before? And we're so inundated with news or fake news or I feel like so many people are just angry or upset all the time because of what they see in the news. So in that way, I think it's almost, we're obsessed with this thing in our pockets that can tell us exactly what's going on in the world whenever we want.
Right, and it's changed the look of everything, right? Like, it changed the look of politics. Now we've got a president who tweets all the time. It changes the look of athletes. People can Facebook Live from inside the locker room, and that changes the whole team dynamic. Everything is changing in that way, right? Like, that's part of our society now. And and it's global, right? Like, now you're aware of things that are happening across the globe that 20 years ago we had no idea was going on, even though it probably was.
So with that kind of progression, video games then are becoming more and more a legitimate sport. Do we have we gotten there? Do we have to get that?
I think I'm there. I think, especially with the definition, I think it's definitely an activity of skill that people are. They're most certainly doing it for entertainment. That's obvious.
I'm gonna just end my point on this note. I see this as being. Have you ever seen the movie WALL-E?
Oh, yeah.
The Disney movie.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Exactly. Oh my word.
Welcome.
Good contribution to the show there, Chad.
Yeah, that was
here.
dynamite.
That's like the two things he says in that whole movie.
That's all he says. But anyways, that's not my point. Watch the movie if you want to hear that. WALL-E shows us a sort of dystopian future where everyone lives on a space shuttle and they're all morbidly obese and float on floating beds to get where they need to go. Folks, that is the direction that we're heading as a society, and this is just the beginning. And that's all I have to say.
Where are we going on the spaceship? Because that's important to me.
Where do you want to go on the spaceship?
Are we just going to Mars, or are we going to
That seems kind of
a
lame.
new star system?
Holy negative Nelly!
Yeah, I think so.
What on earth?
so.
Did he just what?
We're talking about sport and entertainment, and I was like, we're all going to die in the spaceship.
I didn't say we're going to die.
We're going to be all obese.
It's
What are we
worse than
doing?
death.
We're morbidly obese on a
worse than death.
spaceship.
Holy Toledo! That's
Well, that puts a whole new spin on the movie for sure.
But
if you're going to look at it that way.
But 2 robots will fall in love.
that'll almost certainly happen. That may have already
that
happened.
might happen next week.
So, little negative Nelly from Al, but he brought us back with the robot love.
I think he's just trying to avoid the fact that he was wrong about gaming not being a real sport. And that's okay, because you know what? In an argument, there are no winners. No, there are some winners.
Sometimes there's objective truth.
You're right, but Al's definitely a
It's
loser.
almost always
Hey,
that
I'm
Al's right.
just speaking my truth.
No, I said objective truth, Al. I didn't say my truth,
This
your
is
truth.
my
I said this is objective truth
This is my truth.
that Alex is wrong. Usually.
Almost always. Exclusively.
I've had a really bad
Especially
day on this
tonight.
podcast.
He's had a tough podcasting day. We're going to improve for you, though, on the next episode, which is coming straight at you.
One of these days,
Woo!
eventually. When is this one coming out, Trent? Exact dates this one's gonna come out.
That is not pertinent to